All right, so welcome to the deep dive. You're joining us for a really fascinating look into genetic engineering.
Oh, yeah.
And this isn't something just theoretical.
Right.
This is something that's transforming our world right now.
Yes, very, very quickly.
We're talking about the very building blocks of life here.
Yeah,
It's pretty amazing stuff.
And when we talk about transforming, I mean, it really is profound.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about things like eradicating diseases,
Right.
that are inherited, developing crops that can survive in really tough conditions.
Oh, yeah, climate change and all that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even, maybe preventing extinction.
Right? Yeah, like bringing back extinct animals.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild stuff.
Yeah. That's the cutting edge.
And you, our listener, you want to understand all this stuff. You want to understand it quickly and thoroughly.
Yes.
That's why you're here. And we're going to give you a shortcut
Absolutely.
to understanding genetic engineering, why it's so important. We've gone through a whole bunch of material to bring you the best insights.
Yeah, we've done the heavy lifting.
You've done the heavy lifting, so you don't have to.
There you go.
So to really appreciate where we are now, I think it's helpful to take a little historical look back.
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
So going back to the 19th century,
Okay.
we got Gregor Mendel
Yes.
and his work with pea plants.
Yes, the foundation.
This is really foundational stuff.
Absolutely.
And it's all about heredity, how traits are passed down.
Yeah, he was looking at things like, the shape of the peas and the color.
Yeah, pretty basic stuff.
Yeah, but, from that he was able to sort of create this framework.
Yeah, that we're still building on.
Absolutely.
And then almost a century later, we've got another huge discovery.
Oh, yeah.
1953, Watson and Crick.
Double helix.
DNA's double helix structure. This is huge.
Yeah, this was the moment that we really understood how genetic information is stored.
Yeah.
How it's copied.
It's like the instruction manual.
For life. The blueprint.
And having that blueprint, it makes you wonder if we can read it. Can we edit it?
Yes, and that brings us to the cutting edge.
Yeah, CRISPR.
CRISPR-Cas9.
Which has really been
a game changer.
A game changer in this field.
Absolutely.
It's gene editing technology.
Very precise.
At an incredible level of precision.
Like a word processor.
Yeah, like a word processor for your DNA.
Exactly.
And we have to mention Jennifer Doudna and Emmanuel Charpentier.
Oh, the Nobel Prize winner?
Yeah, they won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 2020.
For their work on CRISPR.
So that tells you how important this is.
Absolutely.
And they basically took this natural defense mechanism from bacteria and turned it into this tool.
Powerful tool.
To manipulate genes.
Yes.
And the potential applications of this are pretty amazing.
Particularly in medicine.
Especially in medicine.
Yeah, think about things like sickle cell anemia.
Yeah, cystic fibrosis.
These are debilitating diseases, and potentially we could cure them.
It's pretty amazing to think about.
It is. It really is.
But of course, with that power comes responsibility.
Oh, absolutely.
There are ethical considerations. Using CRISPR on human embryos.
Yeah.
You're making changes that are going to be passed down to future generations.
That's right.
That's a really big decision to make.
It is.
And a lot of people are talking about unintended consequences.
Right.
What's acceptable and what's not.
A very important discussion to have.
Yeah, very important. So, beyond the medical applications of this field is really evolving rapidly.
Yeah.
And there are some real visionaries out there, like George Church.
Oh, yes. Leading figure in synthetic biology.
Yeah, and synthetic biology that's like designing new biological systems.
That's right, or redesigning existing ones.
And he's doing some really out there stuff, like trying to bring back the woolly mammoth.
That's right, de-extinction.
De-extinction. It's mind-boggling stuff. And so, you're hearing all this, and you might be thinking this is all very interesting, but how does this affect me?
Right now?
Right now, in my everyday life.
That's a great question. Yeah. And it's important to connect this back to your life.
Yep.
So, first of all, you need to stay informed.
Yeah, keep up with the news.
Yeah, there are some great science news outlets out there.
Absolutely, and things are moving so fast, you gotta keep up.
Absolutely.
And, you mentioned the ethical considerations before, and this isn't just for scientists to talk about.
No, this is for everybody.
This is something we all need to be thinking about because this could affect all of us.
The potential benefits and the risks.
Absolutely. And so how do people get informed?
Well, there are some fantastic educational resources out there.
Oh, yeah, like what?
Online courses, workshops.
Oh, yeah.
You don't need a science background.
Yeah.
To understand this stuff.
That's good. And there are experts out there you can learn from directly.
Yeah, go to talks, webinars.
Yeah, meet the people who are actually doing this work.
Exactly.
That
So
really,
they can really bring it to life.
yeah, and I think it's important to be aware of public policy.
Absolutely.
What are the
What
laws?
are the regulations?
Yeah, how is the stuff being governed?
It's changing all the time.
Yeah, it's important to stay on top of that. There's some more hands-on ways to get involved.
Oh, yeah. Citizen science projects.
Citizen Science Project.
You can actually participate in research.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, get your hands dirty.
Yeah. And another suggestion that came up was science fiction literature,
Oh, yeah.
which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Like-
It can be very thought-provoking.
Yeah, it explores the potential societal impact.
The ethical dilemma.
And it gets your imagination going.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Even if it's not scientifically accurate.
Yeah.
It can be a fun way to explore these ideas.
Yeah, for sure. One kind of quirky idea that came up
Okay.
was designer pets.
Oh, yeah.
Using CRISPR,
To create custom pets.
custom pet, So maybe you want a dog
A certain color fur.
yeah, or a cat that doesn't shed.
It's still theoretical,
Yeah.
but it raises some questions.
Yeah, I think you talk great about a relationship with nature.
And how far we should go.
Yeah, where do we draw the line?
Big questions.
Yeah. So to wrap this all up, what would you say is the key takeaway?
Well, I think the main takeaway is that genetic engineering has enormous potential.
Yeah.
I mean, it could solve some of our biggest problems,
Yeah.
but it's a really powerful tool,
Yeah.
and we need to be careful.
Yeah. We need to be responsible.
Absolutely.
So today we've looked at the history of genetic engineering, the CRISPR revolution, some of the current innovations, and some ways that you, our listener, can get involved. And as you think about all this, the potential to cure diseases, the ethical questions,
Yeah.
the fact that we can actually alter the building blocks of life. It's pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot to think about.
Yeah. So here's a question for you. Given how fast this field is moving, what societal value do you think is going to be most tested in the next decade? Something to think about.
That's a good one.
Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.
Thanks for having me.